So while I'm making lunch and we are advancing towards 3 p.m., you can see the captain just now. Just now, went to sit in his prime location and in very dominant posture. Of course, he received orders from the trash in the Shabak. And I will and tell you what's the meaning of this little theater, because it's going to be very important. So the idea is that since I am a robot, there is always people that I take commands from. So I live in his house, so he's my commander. I do whatever he tells. Never mind that I do things that even if we will study 100 years now, he will not be able to understand anything that I do anything that I did in the last months or so. And also, even though I documented everything, but in some magical way he controls me. So he sits in this near in very commanding position, so I will not be able to pass through to the balcony. Now, why is it important? Because they know that the symbolic commands for the spaceship to start the frying of the Earth is there, because you've seen it. I took a photograph of the wall it's two rolled canvases with paint and acrylic on it, and it's right there. And they know that when they are both hanged in the balcony with all the other symbolic stuff, Israel, it's already been fine, but they know that it will be fight to a much greater extent, and they specifically fear this time, towards 3 p.m., because they know that that's where they will be over Israel, or not exactly over, but Israel will be under their rays, and they know it very well since this already happened. Everything already happened in Israel, not metaphorically, just like that. So we can ask yourself, okay, if this already happened and they suffered greatly, they lost their families, they lost their fertility, why do they do it again? The outcome of the first time, the first stage was horrible. Why do they repeat? Why do they do the thing? Aren't they changing? I don't know. I propose many theories for this behavior, but ultimately, it's beyond my understanding, and it's something that the only way to understand it for me is use the mystical term of satanic. They are satanic, and they are much more dangerous just because of the fact that it already happened to them. Because right now, they are resistant to change. They cannot change, they cannot learn, they cannot behave in any way differently, and the fact that they were punished already makes them even much more dangerous, because it's hardened them. They don't care, at least of all, about the world. They don't care about themselves, and least of all about the world. So, it's very sad, but that's the way it is. And I hope that my hope is getting slimmer, all the time. But I still hope that there's somebody in this world, there's someone that actually cares more about the future of mankind than about its ego, because it's always you can hear the sirens, because it is known that the robots and the shouting from the neighbors, because it is known that robots fear sirens of police, and also they fear shoutings of little piece of shit, prostitutes and pedophiles that populate the gardens of the Shabak. It is very known that they they're afraid of them. So if they will do sirens and shoutings, the robot will go away, and that's why God will not destroy Israel, because God is doing only what the stupid robot is telling him to do, and the stupid robot is afraid of the prostitutes and the pedophile that are his neighbors, and when they shout or they play sirens, the robots go to his room and will not hang those two paintings right here, which will fry Israel in horrible gamma rays. After I prepare my lunch, I'll eat my lunch, which will take about 10 minutes. Does that make sense? This is the logic not of the pedophiles and the prostitutes that populate this neighborhood. This is the logic of the entire population in Israel, of course, including the government. That's how they think. We will generate enough noise and shouting and sirens, so the robot will keep will stay in his room under the blanket afraid, and that's how we will win God, because God is not, God doesn't care. God just do whatever the robot says for some irrational reason that we cannot understand because it's so crazy. So, and the robot will not tell God to do anything, because it will be under the blanket, afraid of the shouting and the sirens that the prostitutes and the pedophiles in the building are generating. This is the logic of the entire state of Israel, including the government. And they call themselves Homo Sapiens? Sapiens? Sapiens is not the term that I would have chosen.